Welcome. I'm Ramil Paredes with the Plano East Rotary Club and the Plano Flags of Honor. And we would like to welcome Captain Jim Patterson, Army Air Corps bomber pilot and a World War II veteran. He's 99 years old. Again, thanks for joining us, Captain Patterson, and sharing your story.
You want my story now?
Well, let me just go and yes, sir. Let me just ask you a few of the questions that we talked about. One thing that, as I mentioned, you're a World War II veteran. What campaigns did you participate in?
I was in the South Pacific campaign,
Oh, okay.
and I was stationed in the Philippine Islands.
Oh, okay. So Douglas MacArthur, you're part of
Yes,
the push throughout towards Japan.
that's correct.
Okay. Was speaking about your campaign, what are the most memorable moments um, during your military career?
Well, I have I have a lot of moments to remember, but uh, probably the main thing that I need to make clear is that I started out as a bomber pilot, and before I got and I took a full course of bombing, and before I was sent overseas, they needed some people to fly the B-24 that was converted for photo reconnaissance work. So, as it turned out, instead of dropping bombs, I flew over enemy territory at 20,000 feet, taking pictures down and on either side. And I flew a full set of missions doing that. That was 300 hours, what it amounted to. And so, even though I was flying over enemy territory, it was toward the end of the war. And so I didn't have to worry about, uh, very much anyway, being shot at. And if they shot at us, we'd get a picture of their installation. And so they mostly just let us fly on without shooting at us. But every once in a while, they'd shoot at us. And at 20,000 feet, there's one airplane. They wouldn't stand much chance of hitting us and everything. But nevertheless, we did have to consider all that when we were flying. And probably the most hazardous part of our flying was flying on instruments, which was most every evening we'd have to fly through a front to get home. And really, the I guess you'd say the most dangerous part of our mission was flying over water. B-24s would not land in water hardly at all, and if you survived, you have to get out of there real quick. But nevertheless, uh, we were flying on old maps. They were estimated, and it would say we would be flying on instruments over mountains that the map showed uh, 10,000 feet, and we were flying at 12,000 feet. And so we had to make sure that, or had to feel sure that those estimated maps was going to see us through. And then, of course, later on, they made regular maps out of our pictures and everything. But uh, most of our time was spent over water, and like I say, B-24s just weren't made to land in the water. B-17s would land in the water real well, and but we weren't worried. We just did the best we could, and I want you to know up front that I don't consider myself a hero because I'm still here. I feel like the heroes were the ones that actually lost their lives. And of course, I did what I was asked to do, and I could have lost my life, but I'm a man of faith, and the good Lord was looking after me all through the war, and I appreciate that so very much.
Well, Mr. Patterson, again, anyone who takes that oath and serve our country, pretty much, especially I'm familiar with some of the work that you do. It's a reconnaissance work. You're providing intelligence with troops on the ground, especially when you serve in the South Pacific. A lot of their campaigns are Marines and Army that's on the ground, depending on, what weapons do they have on the next island hopping. So we do appreciate any part of it. Anyone who contributed during World War II, especially in the South Pacific, we do appreciate that. As I mentioned, you're a 99-year-old World War II veteran. Military is it's an ongoing. What advice do you have for the new generation of armed services that's coming in, just joining the military?
Well, I would suggest that if they are men of faith, that they make sure that God is their pilot and not co-pilot. And but if they're not men of faith and all, well, I would just say that you just follow the book and do the best you can, and really that's what I did pretty much. Is like I say, they converted my bomber to a photo reconnaissance airplane, which meant that my I guess you'd say the two bomb bays. The front one was for additional gasoline to fly those long missions, and the second one was a dark room for changing out the cameras and changing the pictures of the film and everything. So as I said before, I flew a full set of missions over enemy territory, making pictures down and to either side. It's kind of like plowing an oil field. I mean, call it I guess you say plowing a field for so long and turn around and come back, and that's what we did. And they shot at us a few times, but most of the time they didn't. And we were very fortunate. And like I said, most of our problems was counting on the maps that we were having to fly on instruments with that were accurate enough that we wouldn't hit the mountains or something that were indicated. So that's kind of my service in a nutshell.
Well, Mr. Patterson, thanks for that advice. As I mentioned, anyone who joins the military pretty much experience something where they commit to a prayer to make sure something above saves them, if not protects them at the time of during war, even at peace. With that, I just want to ask, as I had mentioned to our audience, you're 99 years old. You served in World War II. You've lived a life. How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a man in the military that did what he was asked to do and do it as best he could.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. Anyone who takes that oath and stands opposed, or takes that order, it's a hero to everyone and a hero to me. I appreciate your time, Mr. Actually, Captain Patterson, for joining and sharing your story with the Plano Flags of Honor and the Plano East Rotary Club. Excuse me, Plano East Rotary Club. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, I feel